I don't know what's going on, but I've just found out that's not feeding live, so I'm just going to continue the lesson and then post it up later. And if anyone wants to comment, I'll keep checking in on it. So we've got our core shadow. Then we're going to look at the base here where it sits down. It's really quite dark. So you want a nice dark bit where it sits. Now this is called your occlusion shadow. So you just want to get a bit of a shadow there. And again, the apple's a bit wider this side, so you want to get it up a little bit more. Sorry, darker this side. So sorry about the pencil. Okay. Now we need to look at getting a mid shadow in. Now, if you notice this apple is on white, and what happens is the light goes down and it reflects off the white surface and back up onto the apple. So there's actually a bit of a highlight on the bottom of the apple here. And the same on this side, but this side's not as light as that because it's the shadow side. But you can sort of see that it's a bit lighter around here. If it's on a black, the black will soak up that shadow and it'll just look all dark and you won't get that reflection at all. But on the white surface, you get a reflection. So when you're doing it, you need to bear in mind there will be reflections here. So let's just put in a mid-tone on here. I might just go the lighter pencil, which I might need to sharpen actually. So I'm just going to put a bit of a mid-tone in. Bit harder with this because I've only got the two pencils here, so it is harder to get that variation, whereas if it's either line I'm creating, so because I wasn't holding my pencil the other way, I'm just going to move the paper a bit, and now it's going to be easier for me to fill it in because I have moved the way I'm holding my pencil. Just got to wear that pencil in. Let's get this mid-tone going. So, now you'll notice there's a big difference between this occultation shadow and this core shadow and your mid-tone. So now we need to blend them a bit more. So you need to blend between those two. So you just need to work it a bit. And just remember this side is a bit darker than the other side. So just start. So just remember pressure and lifting the pressure on your pencil will help you deliver that blend that you need. So I'm trying to do this fast to give you an idea of it. We'll bring this one up too. So you can see that that's starting to become more rounded. Now, a lot of these marks are up and down, and it's a good idea to sort of go around this way too to get that curve of the apple happening. So you need to think about your shape as well when doing your line work. to help get the impression of it going around. Now, we're just going to look at the top here. So this is your highlight area, but we do have a dark section in here, don't we? So we'll put the dark in, and then let's just put a blend in there. So this is quite light, so we want to get a light. So you would, if you're using a grey lead, you would probably get a much lighter pencil. So I'm just going to try and put this in as light as I can with this. Because this is like, it's like a mid-tone, but it's the high, sorry, not a highlight, it's a light tone, light area. So just getting that base mark in. Okay, now see, I've smudged it because I've had my hand down. Now, using charcoals in particular will do that if you're not careful. So now we want to blend that to that. Now, as the apple curves away from the light, it gets quite dark, it gets darker. Now, in a picture, if you are doing an image and it looks quite flat in the end, it could also, but yet you've got your tones in there. It could be because you don't have your strongest dark and your lightest light. So it is a good idea for your lightest areas to really try and keep, well, it could be the paper white, and for the darkest areas to go as dark as you can. So you can see that starting to just blend that a little bit more. I'm just going to blend this bit a little. Now you'll notice my edges kind of disappear because I did draw it light in the first place. I'm just going to get a bit of a curve going on in this light area, trying to keep it as light as I can with this, just to give that impression of the apple going around. So this light area, what we call it, is the core light, because this is where the light's hitting. Now, it probably could be more dramatic if I just left it the white, but I'll show you in a second why I'm not doing that. Now, you'll be able to get this a bit smoother, but because I'm trying to do it quick, it's not working that well. Now, I'm just going to get the dark side of the stem in and the end. A bit darker towards the centre, and then it gets a bit lighter. Now, I do have a bit of a line happening there, so I'm just going to make the side, this side of the apple, just that little bit darker so it stands right out. Make sure those mid-tones blend it. For those, I'm letting my pencil marks go in different directions. Okay, so here you have your core light, your core shadow, your oculation shadow, and you have your mid-tones, which are sort of there, here, okay? Then you want your highlight. So if you have a look here, this is your highlight, and that is actually a reflection of the light. So if you mark in where that is, then that will be quite light there. And then you can highlight some other sections, like where these reflections down here are. And your apples should start jumping up. Now, another thing is a broken line. I love to do a broken line on my work. I think it adds some interest. Hang on, I might just... So you can play around, see what works, what doesn't work as you're doing it. So just add some more mid-tones if you need to. It's quite dramatic, that. But a broken line is just every now and then you might just do a bit of a sharp line like that. Not the whole lot, just on a very odd occasion, mainly maybe where the shadows are. And it just helps define sections of the work. I've probably done a bit many, but that's what we call a broken line. So it's time to get the shadow in. Now, the closer the shadow is to the object, the stronger the shadow is. So the further away it goes, the softer and lighter it becomes. So if you look at a shadow, the further from the object, it actually starts to sort of dissipate and become more transparent. I really need to sharpen some pencils here. I'm making it a bit softer on these edges, but see how dark it is here? I'm now going to start. I always move my page around, so if you need to get the right angle, do so. So now I can start going lighter as I go further away. And remember to do those mid-tones to blend from the really dark to the light. So there's an apple. So I challenge you, is once you have a go at doing that, is to get something else. Bit more interesting. So a lot of people will say, oh, you know, like if you look at these gummies, oh, they're too hard to draw. So they might go for just a leaf. But if you were to look at an artwork, what's more interesting to look at? It'll be the gum leaves because there's a lot more detail. So it doesn't matter if you get it right or you get it wrong. It's still going to create more interest having more in the work, and you'll be able to get away with it. So I'm just going to put it up there. So if you look at this, you will be able to see you've got your highlight, you've got your dark area, you've got your reflections. You can see which direction the light's coming because of where these shadows are hitting. So you can apply what you just learnt with the apple to this object as well. And if you just remember when you're drawing it is to draw that basic shape in. So you start with the basic shape and build to get the right size. And if you leave your line work and you go over it like I am, like this, it will create a lot more interest within your drawing than if you erase all your lines. It'll also, you will find, save you a lot of time, and after an hour of drawing, you will have an artwork. Whereas if you have been using the eraser, you may not have much there at all. So don't be scared to leave your lines, because you will probably find that you end up with a really interesting piece of work. But the main thing is start light, draw light, and then you'll be right. Okay, so grab some gum nuts, grab a piece of fruit, grab whatever it is that you want to draw, and have a go at trying those techniques. Find your core shadow, find your light source, or light source first, then find your core shadow, find your occultation shadow, find your light, your core light, and your mid-tones, and see how you go. And I look forward to being able to see any works that people do, and have fun doing it. That's the main thing, is to enjoy doing it. And the more you do it, the more confident you will become, and the more you will start developing your own style, and easier it'll become. So don't let maybe things you've learnt in the past stipulate how your images have to be, because they don't have to be. This is art. This is your chance to have a bit of freedom. And what I have shown you is just a technique you can use to assist you in finding those light source and shadows, and learning how you can blend a little bit better. But just have fun doing it, and I really, really look forward to seeing what people do. Okay, sorry about the 2 videos. Hopefully you can navigate them. But I had a lot of issues trying to get that working. Okay, thank you. Bye.